you know, in part one, I didn't really get to what I wanted to talk about, which is lying to women. I got to almost everything but that. Someone in my position, is put in a position where if he wants to really date women, he's going to have to lie to them. Now, here's the problem. One of the most righteous people on earth shouldn't have to lie to women. If you're among the top 0.001% of the most righteous people on earth, why on earth would you have to lie to have a decent woman? Why on earth? But yet I'm put in this situation. Either I lie to women about the three main things I discussed in the last video: living in the middle of nowhere, living with my parents, and the government cracking down on me. Or I accept being alone because I was more virtuous. So I will be punished by society, by women specifically. If I do not lie to them, I will be shunned, when I am among the most deserving of men on the planet. There's no man that you can honestly say deserves to be with a woman more than I do. There's no man that you can honestly say deserves to be with a gorgeous woman more than I do. But yet here I am in this position where if I do not lie to them, they will not give me a chance. But then they would turn around and say, well, you lied. And there's a difference, because they'll say, well, isn't that a form of catfishing? It's related to catfishing. Catfishing is specifically lying about who you are, not necessarily where you live and what you do and all this stuff. That's just lying. So is it really fair that I'm put in this position? Now, part of me is thinking, well, you know what? Just fucking lie to him. I'm a miserable fuck. I had an oath and I went without any affection, not even kissing for women, for like a year and a half or something like that, right? Long time. And then I've only been with one woman since then, in any level. I'm not going to say what I did and all that, but, so, isn't the logical thing to say, hey, I'm getting old. I've lost the best years of my life to this gang stalking, this New World Order shit, being shunned, being a black guy in a small white town. I've missed out on women so much. Let's just lie to them, Now, in a way, it's related to what they're doing to me. Because if I'm going to lie to women and say, you know what, I know what's best for them, so I'm going to lie to them. But there's a difference between covertly drugging and lying to women in this situation. There is a very distinct difference. But to do that would be to start to sink down to their level. Doing what's makes me feel better in order to, lying in order to do what makes me feel better. That's selfishness. But at the same time, I know for sure that these people are shallow and they're causing me harm because they're shallow, because they're out of touch, because they have bad judgment. And if I simply tell them what they want to hear, then I will have different relationships with different women. They'll last maybe a couple months and, whatever. I'll be able to play it off for quite some time. It's very fucking sad in this situation. What is the correct thing to do is to tell them the truth. But when I realize that this whole society is at war with me and they're doing it to me, you could argue that fighting back when somebody's waged war on you is sinking to their level. They did this to me and they went much farther than I'm going to go as a result. I'm not going to covertly drug them. I don't have these huge, networks that rape people and, torture people with government technology and so on and so forth. Martin Luther King talks about how they used to get 40 phone calls a day threatening him. It was a coordinated effort. How do you think they got their phone number? Secret society, coordinated effort, gang stalking, political harassment, covert harassment, organized harassment, cause stalking, cause harassment. The difference here is, his was going on before this technology was really readily available to government contractors and secret societies and whatnot. So with this women problem, going back to it, what should be done here? What should be done? Should the most righteous of men suffer because the most shallow of women have sold out to a bunch of scum who do not know the difference between wisdom and cleverness? There's many ways to look at this. And a righteous man must always do the most righteous thing that he can do, even though it's painful, even though it means being miserable. But there's only one thing that complicates the situation, is that this is a time of war. And whatever my enemy manipulates in a time of war, a time of, them going to war with me, not just, I'm not talking about, there's a war in Iraq or something, that's not a good reason. If they manipulate my love life and society allows them to do it, because it's a time of war, it makes it okay for me to lie to women. It's not the most righteous thing to do, but it's a lot more okay than if I wasn't in this situation. Because the only real chance I would have had with women is cut off by them. And that's a major part of why I say this. They are sabotaging me, they're controlling my messages. They are controlling my Tinder matches. They're controlling my ability to meet women on the internet. Now, if they didn't do that, I would have talked to many women that live in my area, and some of them would have understood, some of them wouldn't. And I would have been able to find, and my love life would have pretty much continued as it should. It wouldn't have been an issue. They made it an issue by what they're doing through social media and keeping me from connecting to women the most logical way possible. Period. In order for me to be honest with a woman and to pull a woman, I pretty much have to meet them on social media. Because if I meet them at the club and I say, you know what, you don't really have time to explain to them your circumstances, And, there's a lot of reasons why the internet becomes a more logical solution to reach out to women for people in my exact situation. A black man in small town Morgan Hill that lives in a no service type area in the fucking mountains where there's no service for a long way to and from where he lives. You're going to hear a lot of crybabies say bitch shit like, well, why don't you move out? And these people haven't been paying attention, have they? Because the government is sabotaging me, and therefore money becomes part of my resources for war. I shouldn't be spending any more money than I really have to. Even when I'm buying things like Palestinian flags, it's to help me with my videos. I use the Palestinian flags the same day I got them in the mail in my videos. All my expenses are related to the war. My food supplies are food supplies to go to war. Where I buy food has to do with, switching it up so they can't drug my food, which they're doing. Everything I do, every expense I have is part of the expense of going to war with a bunch of unprincipled secret society members and all the oppressive groups and institutions that I speak about. So now that you truly understand my situation, before you say some stupid shit, truly think deeply about what should be done. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Okay? I'm going to be very honest with the people who I know are perps that I'm talking to right now. And I'm going to lie to every new female I come across. And whoever it happens to work out with, fine. And almost every female I come across is going to be a perp anyway, which makes it even more okay to lie to them. It makes it the smart thing to do. It makes it what even a righteous person would do. Because this is war. And the perps like to use these things to keep from dating me, to try to highlight the situation and highlight what I lose from the situation. By me flipping it around and saying, you know what, I'm just going to lie to them. And now what excuse do they have? I'm going to act more normal than the most normal person. I'm going to lie to them about everything, and we'll see what they do. You know, that takes away their power to make me feel like I'm missing out on women because of doing the right thing. And those shallow women who may not be perps, it actually gives me a chance with them when I'm not able to reach out to too many people because of how they're manipulating my outgoing messages, especially, and I'm sure their responses if my messages slip through. I'm a programmer. I know how things work. I know that they're doing this. And I also have a long track record of being on the internet and understanding how interactions take place and whatnot. I've considered all the parameters. I've considered everything. Okay? And that's what I'm going to do. And I would love for any of you to explain to me why this is the wrong thing to do. There's one woman that lives far away that I'm taking very serious right now. And I can tell you whether she lives fucking 30 miles away or at least she lives across the country. You know, there's one woman in particular that I take more seriously than the others. But I also suspect that she's a perp and that she doesn't take me as serious, but she's one hell of an actor. And that's where we are now. My love life and whatnot. I thought that I would share my experiences and what I'm going through, because it's the same thing when I saw with people, black militants writing their books, Soul on Ice, Black Panther Party Reconsidered, and so on and so forth. By reading other people's experiences, you can better understand what is the appropriate thing to do in yours, and you need to think about these things. Never let society keep you from thinking deeply and coming to the correct conclusion. They kind of try to keep you busy, occupied with work and, football games and parties and doing dumb shit and social calls and blah, blah, blah. And they don't want you to think about things and come to the correct solution. That's why so many people are conformist bootlickers who kind of have an idea that the government's corrupt, but they don't really look into it to truly come to the right conclusion about what to do about it. And women are the biggest offenders. If a woman was in my situation and telling a man, he'd be more understanding. He'd be more concerned in her as a person and her attractiveness, which is much more righteous than being concerned about how much money someone makes, what they do for a living, or what they can do for you. Thank you.